Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Bell to Bells, your women's wrestling wire. I, of course, am Mr. Warren Hayes, and I'm thanking you right now to be joining us here on our YouTube channel, or maybe you're listening as well on your favorite podcast application, which is awesome as well, and you picked a great day to do it. You picked a fantastic day to show up, because today we're bringing you an interview. Another interview in our series of talks with wrestlers who made it on the 2020 PWI Women's 100 list. Oh my goodness! That's right. We're all shocked to see with us today. Have with us Session Moth Martina. Of course, I'm kidding. We're not shocked at all.
I'm shocked. Are you kidding me? I've been trying to get on this list for I don't know how long.
Would this be the first year that you're ranked?
Yeah.
Really? Congratulations, then.
I know. I'd like to thank my family and my friends and my fans. Of course, you love me. You really love me.
We really, really love you. But look, we're really appreciative of you joining us today. I'm looking forward to having this little chat with you. But look, we have to talk. We're going to talk about the past year or so. So of course we have to talk about the big one, everything that has to do with 2020 is somewhat related to the coronavirus, right? It's been a very
unfortunately, yeah.
It's affected wrestling on a whole bunch of levels, but indie wrestling's been hit pretty hard, and I'm sure that that has been a bit the same to you. How have you been keeping busy despite it all?
Well, I guess there's not much more you can do other than like just tweeting. It's the only kind of way to stay like relevant in wrestling at the moment. It's not like you can't have matches. There's absolutely no shows in Ireland.
Right.
There's not even training in Ireland yet. So
Oh, even the gyms and everything is still
the
shut down?
gym, the regular gyms are, but
Okay.
not wrestling gyms. So
But
we
not
don't
the
have that at
schools.
the moment. I feel like I've been waiting for that longer than anything at this point. But yeah, we're going very slow. So I kind of think the only real way I've been keeping busy, I guess, is just kind of like trying to come up with like funny tweets and funny videos or whatever, like stuff like that. Like just doing promo, sitting in my room and just trying to be an idiot, really, I guess. Just to keep it's as much to keep myself amused as well as other people.
Oh, sure. You do, like, on one part you do it for others, but you also, there's a part of you that does it for yourself as well, right?
Yeah, I was like, I just want to go online and be like, I'm just going to be a fool and tweet something I think is funny, and that'll get me through the day. That'll be fine, and then I'll just go back to my video games.
Well, there you go. Look, and we know 2020's had a lot of downs. There's been some ups, but then there's been some soaring heights, right? Finally, we learned this year, Martina, that John does indeed fancy Martina. We found it out.
I
How
know.
we saw the video. How did you win him over?
I don't know. I think, persistence is key. Like I spent most of last year, I think, trying to convince him to follow me, which in
Mm-hmm.
the end he did.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he follows nearly everybody under the sun doesn't matter. He consciously followed me. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that he knew what he was doing. He was like, oh, I'll make her wait, make her wait. And then he pressed that follow button. And all it took was a year of constant DMs and constant tweets. And before you know it, after I paid a certain amount of money, I finally, with no editing whatsoever,
No.
got him to admit that he fancies me and that I'm the love of his life.
It truly is a love story for the digital age.
I
Is what,
mean, yeah.
you
I mean,
know.
it's pretty much the new age Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Elizabeth.
Absolutely. And it
It's
just
fairy
goes.
tales. This will go down in history, I think.
I think so too. I think so. Broadway musical coming up. Obviously, that'll be the next step. But it's just proof, right? It's just proof that if persistency,
If
you'll
you love
eventually.
someone with all your heart,
Yeah.
eventually they are not just a bot on Twitter following everyone. They really, really mean it. And when they say that they love you in your head.
There you go. Absolutely. They'll eventually, and yeah, there you go. You'll eventually wear them down. Is, I
Yeah.
think, the
Yeah.
message here.
I mean, we've not had any like face to face conversation yet, but like
Oh well,
2025 is a big year.
it's good to have goals. 2019 was a really big year for you. It was one of your busiest yet. You wrestled
Yeah.
like in 28 promotions. You had almost 100 matches all over the world. You even had your Stardom tour at that point as well. What were some of your highlights while you were over in Stardom?
2019 was definitely like probably the best year of my career, I'd say. It just for Ireland as well, because like we only have like one or two promotions here, kind of getting to do so much all over like England, America, and Japan. It was like in Irish terms, it was like a breakthrough year, you know. It was like,
Hmm.
oh, I've done more than anyone else. This is great. Um, and then finishing it off at Stardom, I mean, you can't beat it really, can you? I decided to stay for like over Christmas and everything. So I was there just right up until Wrestle Kingdom at the start. So Wrestle Kingdom was definitely a highlight. That was so cool. And obviously doing tag league with Natsu every October so far has been a highlight. It's going to be very, very devastating this year to not be in tag league. I'm
Yeah.
sure if the world was a better place right now, I'd be getting set to go around now, to be honest. So that'll be a hard adjustment, you know. You get used to kind of going to Japan. You're like, yeah, I'll go back. I can't wait. So this year will be a bit of a shock, but hopefully next year, hopefully. I
Hopeful.
miss the girls. I really do. I miss the girls a lot. Like,
Yeah, it always seems like there's a good spirit of and I know the word is very cheap, but camaraderie nonetheless. You
yeah,
know.
yeah, like I swear, Natsu is one of the funniest people. We don't even speak the same language, but she's the funniest girl I think I've ever met. Like she has very, very little English, but like it's like we just look at each other, hold our beers, and we're like, yeah, we just get each other. But we always like go to like karaoke bars and stuff like that, and just have a great time. So I'll really miss seeing her this year, especially.
Have you picked up a little Japanese?
Very little.
Very little.
Very
Okay.
little. Yeah. Actually, when I'm there, I'm better at it. Like when I'm there, because it's in your head and you hear it
Sure.
all the time. But if you got me to say it now, I'd be like, eh.
I get
It's
it.
one thing I said to myself I would work on over the quarantine, but
You
too
know,
busy falling in love with John Cena. So,
priorities.
yeah.
Last February, you it was announced that you had signed with Ring of Honor,
Yeah.
and but it was a decision that maybe surprised a few people because
Mhm.
there was the whole NXT UK stuff that had happened a few months prior to that. But you'd been on the record and you said that this was the better choice for you.
Yeah.
Do you?
Pretty
Yeah,
much like I did that was another reason why 2019 was such a big year. Like, obviously I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that I would do a WWE tryout. As soon as I started doing like the Martina gimmick, I kind of settled myself being like, okay, if you're gonna go down this road, you know it's not PG, it's gonna be a little edgy, it's not very I don't like it's not very like PC.
yeah,
So I was like, okay, I had a choice. I was like, either are you gonna try one day to get to WWE or are you gonna do this? And back then I was like, okay, well, I'm really enjoying Martina. I don't realistically think I'll ever get to WWE, so I'm going to do this. And that was obviously the best choice I did because my career started to explode. And then as time went on, obviously NXT UK had started in the UK, and I'd see a lot of my friends going and a lot of, like being in NXT UK. And obviously, a part of you kind of goes like, oh, you know, I've done a lot. I've been to Japan, I've been to America, you know, a bit of a big name in the UK scene. Why not me? Why not me? But I have to remind myself, being like, well, this is why, you know, you chose to do this, you chose this, this, this. And I was like, okay, like I can come to terms with that.
right.
And then I remember I went to Australia, which was unbelievable. Like that was another reason, just being like, God, I can't believe it. Like, who gets flown to Australia to wrestle? Like, that's insane. And I just finished as well the WrestleMania week last year as well, which was huge. And I got the email saying like, "Oh, you're going to do a WWE tryout in NXT UK," and I was just like, "Oh my god!" But kind of instantly, I was like, is this right for me? Is this
Sure.
you know like obviously like I know the product and everything like that, and I know what I offer, and I'm kind of like, well, there's going to be changes, there has to be,
Hmm.
and I completely understand that. And I went in with an open mind, being like, okay, let's see how I adapt or whatever. And the trial went really well. Like everyone seemed really impressed. I think they actually were a bit surprised. They're like, "Oh, you can wrestle." I think they just thought I was like a Twitter emoji or something. Um, so I was happy and was proud of myself that like they were impressed and everything like that. Like I was like, "Oh." go me. uh, and then a couple of weeks later, I found out like that they wanted to offer me something, but I also, in the meantime, had been in talks with very slight talks now with Ring of Honor. And again, I was kind of like, oh, this is probably just, playing feelers or whatever. Just, I didn't actually think something would happen. So I remember kind of in my head, I was thinking, like, right, I'll probably end up going to NXT UK. But then, like, on the same day, I got a phone call from both of them, which was just like, I remember I had a show in England, and before I got on the flight, I got an email being like, "Oh, we'd like to speak to you tomorrow at 4 o'clock." And then I landed home, and I checked my phone. It's like, "Hi, Ring of Honor, we'd like to talk to you at 7 o'clock." I was like,
Ooh.
"This isn't real life. Like, who does that happen?" Especially me, I like the person that never thought they'd get a contract anywhere because they were too outlandish or whatever. And obviously, like the smart thing to do is like, you want wrestling to be your full-time career. You want to
Sure.
be comfortable, you want to be secure. So I just had took the both phone calls and I weighed up the pros and cons of each. And I think at the end of the day, I just kind of knew like, first of all, like America's kind of uncharted territory, other than obviously the WrestleMania weeks that I've done. But the idea of like traveling all over America and getting to just hit all these different towns and obviously be on American TV,
Hmm.
like I was like, that's amazing. Still have a lot of freedom in the UK. Like I could still live at home in Ireland and just travel back and forth. So I could still do all my indies in like Europe and stuff like that and Japan and stuff like that. So um it just seemed like a no-brainer really because I could kind of tell they wanted session mod. They didn't want to change anything. It was like we know what we're getting when we're asking for you. And I was like, wow, like that's amazing. Like I kind of in my head was thinking, oh, I'll have to like change this or change that or adapt.
Right.
But with Ring of Honor, they were like, no, we want you. We want a character. We want what you bring to the table. Like there's not many women like characters with such a strong
Sure.
character base, like so I was like, okay, well, I mean, no one else in Ireland has signed the Ring of Honor either. So in my own way, I was like, this is my chance to be a trailblazer,
There you
you
go.
know,
A first
especially
timer.
when so many people from the UK and Ireland kind of are signing to NXT UK and they're doing really well. I was kind of like, okay, well, maybe I want to just give it this a different route. Like maybe it'll be a mistake, maybe it won't,
Hmm.
but I won't know until I try. I feel like I would have regretted not taking that chance more than anything else, really.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it makes sense. And do you? I mean, it must feel good at the same time that your gimmick translates very well, nonetheless. Like, comes heads over to North America, and because I know
Yeah,
it's very, you started off. It's a very, it's very localized expressions. The session
that's it
mob stuff, and
exactly. A lot of people said to me, like the first few weeks that I was doing Martina in Ireland, when I debuted it in OTT, it exploded. Like people loved it, but I remember a few people were kind of like, "Oh, it's a great gimmick, but it'll get old after two or three shows, and I don't see it translating outside of Ireland at all." And then as the year went on, I just kind of kept growing in popularity, and then I broke into England, and I got all over there, and then I broke into America, and then I broke into Japan. So then at that point, it just kind of snowballed. So it's like I try my best to kind of not keep it so Irish, if you get me. Like there's certain things I could say on Twitter or whatever that would be only the Irish people would get it. But
sure,
I try to avoid that and try and see like how can I say this in a way that everybody can understand.
sure.
Pretty much the basis of it is hello, I'm drunk. Yeah.
And that's universal. That's just
Hi, I'm a
universal.
drunk mess. Follow me.
There you go. But I mean, it's to your credit then, that it didn't get old, that you were able to keep it fresh. That
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, the gimmick is only as good as the person who is portraying it. So,
Yeah, like, well, I hope so.
Ring of Honor at the same time, at least in February, just as you were coming in, we're announcing a tournament, right, for the women's title.
I
It
know.
was supposed to start in April. Have you heard anything? Do they still want to go down that route now that they've started shows back up? Have you heard anything about that?
Yes, yes, like
Yeah.
they've been so great during the pandemic. Like I think they're a godsend to be honest. Like they've kept us in the loop completely of everything that's going on. They've 100% put everybody's safety first. That's why it took
Hmm.
so long for them to come back doing shows when all the other big promotions had just kind of jumped in and were like, right, we need to keep going. They kind of obviously they have such a back catalogue of amazing stuff that they were able to kind of use build off
Sure.
that for a while just to make sure until things had passed. But they have quite a lot of international talent. That's the thing. Like there's even just from our section of the world, there's like me, Joe Hendry, and Mark Haskins, and then they have Australians and they've got like Mexicans and Canadians and stuff like that. So, they've been so great with that. Obviously, well, the borders are closed and stuff like that. So they've been keeping us busy. I've been playing I've started playing Dungeons and Dragons on YouTube with them, which is actually the funnest thing ever. Like the idea that this is my job right now. I have to play Dungeons and Dragons as Session Martina, and I swear to God, it's probably the funnest part of my month. I recommend anyone to go and watch it because we just have such a laugh while we do it. And then we just do little like promo videos for week to week, and we do our watch alongs to watch the Ring of Honor product. So they've been keeping us like in the loop, keeping the thing, and they keep saying like, as soon as we can safely get people across, you'll be over. We're going to keep looking because they know that we all really, really want to get back,
Sure.
but obviously they don't want to do anything until it's safe to do it.
Of course.
So, but they definitely have said that like obviously once things kind of can resume and it's safer to get like more females over, that the plan is to go ahead with everything that they had planned. It's just now it's just kind of put on the pause for the moment.
Sure, of course. Um, yeah, I mean, despite it all, you've had a pretty good, eventful year. You said it yourself. You participated in World Tag League over in
Yeah.
Stardom. You were a semifinal participant in the WXW Femme Fatales tournament as well. You're one of the most recognizable women on the indie circuit. People like you. They like to see you perform. 9 years you've been at this at the same time.
Almost 10.
Almost
Almost
10.
10. It'll be my 10 year in February. I only said this yesterday as I'll be so sad if I don't wrestle before February because that'll be nearly a year that I've not wrestled and a year out of my 10-year block. So it's like a big
Yeah.
anniversary. I'm going to get a tattoo to commemorate it and everything. And I just won't feel right if I don't wrestle before that. So hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. What would so would that be your big goal? Let's say if we have an ideal 2021, just to get back into the ring, or like
100%. Yeah, I want everything like ideally everything was going so well right before all this hit. Like I had my schedule for just Ring of Honor alone up for like 6 months in advance. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get to see so many places. This is gonna be such an adventure. I'm gonna be so busy. I'm gonna be traveling back and forth. And then I had like all the time in between filled. I was going to go to Australia and all this stuff. And I was just so excited for the year on paper when I looked at it in January. So ideally, I would be more than happy if I just kind of for next January onwards, if we could just kind of almost have the year that was meant to have this year. That would be the dream. Obviously, with the women's tournaments and stuff like that, I just want to continue at Ring of Honor because I feel like I literally only got my foot in the door.
right.
I'd only done like 2 matches there. And then this happened. I was scheduled, obviously, to do more over the weekend in the women's tournament. And then God knows what would have happened after that. But like, yeah, I just feel like, oh, I didn't get a chance to even start. You know what I mean? So I just hope that everything kind of can resume to normal and I can have a chance next year to just go as far as I can there.
Sure. And that your 10th year
Yeah,
wrestling is absolutely spectacular for you, and I
yeah,
hope
better than this year.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, honestly, it can't be that hard to have a better year than 2020, right?
Unless it's the same and it
Unless
just
it's just
continues.
let's we're jinxing it, aren't we? We
Oh
we're
God.
we're jinxing it. But I do hope everything settles back up and that you can get back into the groove of things. You have a great outlook on it. You've obviously been keeping very positive, and that's always good to see. If we want to make sure that we don't miss a single thing regarding your future plans, your booking, your ongoing love story, where should people follow you, Martina?
Well, definitely on Twitter because that's where all the magic happens at Moth from the Flats. Unmute me if you have me muted. I wouldn't blame you. I feel like I've got loads of followers, but they all just probably mute me because I don't shut up about Cena. So I don't do it as much now. So you can unmute me, guys, okay?
Yeah, there you go. Now
and
you
uh,
know it.
and obviously I'll be tweeting loads when I find out where I placed in the PWI. Obviously it'll be number one because obviously.
Obviously.
That love story is going down in history. If that doesn't get number one, I don't know what will. So yeah, and Instagram is Session with Martina.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Martina. It was a delight to talk to you. I really appreciate your time as well. It was very, very good. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
And thank you everyone for watching us on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast app. Hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that stuff. You know how it goes. Don't need to run through the details. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.